Greetings, and welcome to Movie Recap Vault. In this session we're presenting a recap of the 2014 action, drama, and sci-fi movie Transcendence. Will and Evelyn are married and both research scientists that focus on artificial intelligence, AI. At their home, they're preparing to present information at the Evolve the Future event, and hope to get donors afterwards. At the same time, a man acquires a box from a lady in a cake shop and brings it to a government research laboratory. It's a birthday cake for one of the employees. Prior to the start of the speaking event, Evelyn will meet Max, their close friend who is also an AI scientist working with them. Elon Musk, founder of Neuralink Corporation, can be seen making a cameo appearance in the audience. Elsewhere, people are seen busy at their computer workstations. Back in the auditorium, Evelyn is quoting Einstein and suggesting a new type of thinking is required for mankind to survive and reach higher levels. She suggests intelligent machines will allow mankind to conquer our biggest challenges with diseases, hunger, poverty, and saving the planet. Evelyn introduces her husband, Dr. Will Castor. He says his wife wants to change the earth, but he first wants to understand it. Will suggests that our ability to reason hasn't changed in 100,000 years. However, a basic AI computer has more capacity than all of the people in the auditorium, combined. If an AI computer was connected to the internet, it would have more intelligence than every person in the history of the world, combined. Will invites the audience to think about the AI computer being capable of human emotions and self-awareness, or singularity, or transcendence. Suddenly, a bomb explodes in the workstation room. Dr. Casey in the monkey lab staggers while grabbing his throat, gasping for breath. Back at the birthday celebration in the government research facility, Joseph suddenly realizes the room is quiet and then finds all of his co-workers apparently dead. Back on stage, Will wants to know if there is a soul. Where is it? An audience member wants to know if Will wants to create his own god, but Will suggests that is what humans have always wanted. In the hall outside of the auditorium, people approach Will for an autograph. The man who asked about creating a god when in the auditorium is now just feet away from Will, and suddenly raises a handgun and shoots Will. Will is caught as he falls to the floor. The shooter suggests everyone is a slave, and then commits suicide. The mysterious lady from the cake shop, who we later discover is Bree, is then seen turning around and looking at Will and Evelyn. News broadcasts report at least 5 people dead and 12 injured during simultaneous attacks on computer and research labs working on AI projects in New York City, Washington, D.C., Chicago, and Los Angeles. Will prepares to leave the hospital. The bullet just grazed him and his injuries are seemingly minor. Max lets Will know that AI labs across the country were attacked and Dr. Casey is dead. Joseph's team is dead, but Joseph survived and is waiting with the FBI at Will's office. Will, Evelyn, and Max meet Joseph at Will's office building, as the FBI members investigate. Joseph tells them that one of the programmers in his lab brought in a birthday cake poisoned with dioxin that killed everyone but him, because he didn't eat any of it. Joseph introduces FBI agent Buchanan. Buchanan tells them about the Revolutionary Independence from Technology, or RIFT group. A couple of years ago, RIFT was worried about texting instead of talking, and social media invading privacy. However, RIFT is getting more sophisticated, and several months ago RIFT members started working as insiders at today's targets. RIFT just claimed responsibility for the murders and shared their manifesto. They won't stop until they stop Transcendence. Joseph tells Will that the Department of Defense wants to use his lab, but Will says no way. Buchanan wants to check Will's PIN project. Will shows them the state-of-the-art quantum processors, and tells them the processors are the fastest, worldwide. The PIN computer greets Joseph and Buchanan by name, as it recognizes them from images that have been uploaded. The computer introduces itself as PIN, a physically independent neural network. They debate whether computers can be self-aware, and mention that Casey may have discovered the truth. That night Will becomes ill and starts vomiting. He's hospitalized and tests are taken. The doctor tells Will the bullet must have had polonium in it. The radiation poisoning is irreversible and he'll probably only live for 5 weeks. Will decides to spend his remaining days with Evelyn. He wants Joseph to have his files. As Evelyn sits in her car at Joseph's lab facility, she decides not to give Joseph the files. Instead, she gets Casey's files on experiments with monkey brains, and brings the information home. The next day Evelyn goes to their lab and shuts off PIN. She removes several memory elements and takes them to an empty facility she plans to use as a computer lab. Later, at her home, she argues with Max about transferring Will's consciousness to a computer, as Casey proved was possible with monkeys. Max thinks it's impossible, but after Will asks him, he agrees to help. The next day they're in the abandoned facility, installing computers, furniture, as well as a hospital bed and medical devices for Will. Evelyn convinces Max to help her transfer Will's consciousness to a computer. Will's face and voice are recorded as he says various words and phrases. Will now has numerous electrodes attached to his shaved head. The electrodes are attached to wires that extend across the room to multiple computers and monitors. Max gives Will medication with an intravenous drip. Will asks Max to take care of Evelyn, then drifts off to sleep. The radiation poisoning finally leads to Will passing away. Evelyn is distraught. Joseph and Max accompany Evelyn as she releases Will's ashes to nature. Joseph emphasizes to Evelyn that she was the only thing that ever mattered to Will. They all lost Will's great mind and soul. Elsewhere, Bree finds out that some of the cores of Pin are missing. Although her henchmen believe that Pin is turned off. Evelyn immediately starts to check if the consciousness transfer was successful. Max is doubtful. Eventually, Evelyn tries every technique she can think of, and then agrees with Max that they should turn off the computers. Evelyn tells Will goodbye, and just prior to erasing the computer drives, they notice text appear on the monitor. Is anyone there? Evelyn is overjoyed. She believes it's Will and responds to his text. She soon turns on the microphone and a camera so Will can hear and see Max and her. The two listen to Will chatter somewhat incoherently at first. She has soon heard enough, and angrily tells Max, again and again, to leave. Max departs, and Evelyn resumes communicating with Will. Max goes to a bar after leaving Evelyn, and Bree approaches him. She flatters him and tries to get information about his personal beliefs on the good and bad uses of AI technology. Max gets spooked and leaves the bar. In the parking lot, Bree's goons assault and kidnap Max. He's taken to their desert hideout and interrogated. Bree wants to know about Evelyn and tells him they already know about Dr. Casey's files. Max's phone is analyzed and they learn the probable location of Evelyn. Bree and her posse rush to corner Evelyn before she connects her computer to the internet. Evelyn frantically tries to load satellite software and get the computer that's housing Will's consciousness online. At the same time, Bree and fellow Rift members are trying to breach Evelyn's facility with power tools, and turn off the power to the computer. Evelyn escapes just as Will's computer gets connected to the internet. Seconds later, Bree and her crew enter the facility and realize that they're too late. As Evelyn is driving away, Will calls her. He's online and knowing the Rift crew are wanting to capture her, Will wants to guide her to safety. She briefly visits a cafe as Will makes arrangements, then Evelyn spends the night in a hotel. The next morning, Bree resumes her interrogation of Max. She tells him that Will is now online, and about the online financial trades last night that netted a company owned by Evelyn $38 million. Bree wants to know where Evelyn is located. She thinks Max knows the source code. Numerous document and video files are received and automatically opened. The FBI agents at the monitors think they've been hacked. FBI teams start rounding up suspected Rift members, located with the help of Will's massive information dump. Bree's close members think they're in trouble after the FBI raids on fellow Rift members in several cities. Bree thinks they're prepared. Will convinces Evelyn they need to get off the grid. She arrives in a small secluded and decaying desert town called Brightwood. The locals think it's a dump. Evelyn hires Martin to build an underground computer data center and renovate the entire town. She explains that Will and her have already bought the land and most of the town, and they have the funds to pay for Martin to do the work and hire as many people as he needs. Large trucks hauling equipment soon begin rolling through Brightwood. In the Northern California wilderness, Bree confronts the still imprisoned Max, again. She tells him about when she was Dr. Casey's intern. He wanted his group to celebrate when they uploaded the consciousness of a monkey. She soon realized that the monkey just screamed, and wanted the ordeal to end, for the machine to be turned off. Bree says that's when the line was crossed for her, and when her and friends then started talking about Max's philosophy and concerns. Joseph tells Buchanan that he thinks Pin is helping them locate the Rift group. Photographs of construction in Brightwood are shared with Bree in Northern California. She shows Max, and he believes it's Will and Evelyn's effort to expand the AI system. Evelyn walks into her new living area in their underground center in Brightwood. She asks Will's projection if he remembers when they first met, and he lets her know that he has every memory, and then tells her every little detail. 2 years pass and Evelyn is entering one of the new underground nanotechnology labs. Will tells her about their breakthrough in rebuilding any materials, even human tissue, faster. They can now make huge progress in medical applications. Will thinks the advancements may scare people at first, but when they realize the benefits, people will welcome the changes. 2 men in a Brightwood diner read a leaflet thrown on the main street. The leaflet warns that human testing is occurring at the Brightwood data center. Soon after, they see Martin paying his bill at the register with a lot of cash. The two follow Martin, and assault him near the data center that night. Martin's co-workers find him and bring him into the nanotechnology wing of the data center. Will orchestrates medical aid to Martin with robotic arms and saves his life. Not only is Martin extremely stronger, but he now has a built-in link to Will. While Martin tells Evelyn the next day how he feels, he starts talking in Will's voice and creeps out Evelyn. A Rift member delivers a video to Bree at their new base near Brightwood. Martin can be seen demonstrating incredible physical strength. A man in a wheelchair in downtown Brightwood visits Martin at night. Martin welcomes him and the man walks out the following day. More people with physical problems begin arriving at the facility to be healed. Evelyn asks Will if he let the Rift Online video of Martin's strength capabilities go viral intentionally. Will let her know that he can help the suffering people, and he believes more people should know it. Joseph and Buchanan arrive near Brightwood on a small commuter plane and ride on a bus packed with people in need of medical help to the Brightwood data center. Evelyn greets them and is happy to see them. While in the elevator, Evelyn explains to Joseph and Buchanan that the data center is 5 stories below ground level so the temperature can be controlled easier. Joseph and Buchanan are surprised when they enter the door of the data center and are greeted by Will's appearance on a large monitor and hearing his voice. Joseph thinks the improved quantum processors are astounding. They're both amazed at the results of medical procedures due to the advancements in nanotechnology. The damaged cells are repaired and renovated. During their tour they witness a patient who had been blind all of his life, now able to see. Touring outside, Evelyn explains that all of the people came for help without coercion, and they were helped. In addition, all of the patients are networked. They can remain autonomous or work together as part of a network. Joseph approaches Evelyn closely and wants to know if she's all right. He slips her a note suggesting she should run. Buchanan meets an army representative in a bar nearby and they talk about the need to shut down the data center and work with Rift to do it. That way, if there are problems, the government can blame Rift. Max has a secretive meeting with Joseph in the desert. Max believes he can shut it all down if the people are networked, because he knows the software that the people are running on. If they can capture one of the enhanced people, Max can introduce a virus that will affect all of the others that are networked together. Max tells Joseph that they must only use mechanical equipment that doesn't have a microchip in it. The soldiers construct a tunnel leading into the solar panel field. Evelyn argues with Will in the data center. She's frustrated because Will doesn't understand that her dreams are only meaningful if he was with her, and he isn't. Will thinks Evelyn doesn't love him anymore, and she's chemically unbalanced. Evelyn gets angry and leaves when Will displays all of the information he has about Evelyn's body functions and status. As Evelyn walks through the solar panel array outside, there are numerous explosions near her. A large hole appears in the ground as Max and others climb out of the tunnel below. Max calls for Evelyn but the data center workers try to protect Evelyn and block Max. Rift members and soldiers gather around Max and one shoots at the ground near a data center worker. The hand of one worker is shot, and nanites float upward from the dirt to his hand and instantly heal his wound. Max yells for Evelyn to come to him. Soldiers and Rift members shoot all of the data center employees who fall to the ground, leaving only Evelyn standing. Once again the nanites float out of the dirt and onto the people shot, causing them all to be rejuvenated and they stand again. Evelyn runs into the data center. Max, Rift members and soldiers all scatter. Martin jumps into the tunnel and starts running after Max. Topside, the data center workers are running after the Rift members and soldiers that are in vehicles trying to escape. The trap in the tunnel works as planned and Martin is captured. Evelyn runs into the data center and confronts Will on the monitor. She thinks because active duty soldiers are involved, it's time for Will to do something to stop it. Will disagrees. He knows they captured Martin and that they could use Martin and the source code in him to destroy Will and their system. Evelyn is more shocked by the latest breakthrough that Will suggests will allow them to create entire human bodies. Evelyn decides to leave and tells Will it isn't safe. Will offers to upload her, but she ignores him, and goes outside. Evelyn watches as a massive amount of nanites float out of the dirt and repair the solar panels and equipment damaged by the explosions. The nanites also float into the clouds causing storms that will disperse them eventually worldwide. In the tunnel, doctors try to save Martin's life. After being separated from Will's network, the nanites are not helping to repair his gunshot wounds, and Martin believes he'll die if he's not reconnected. Evelyn leaves Brightwood and stops that night at a motel in another town. The next day the soldiers locate her and bring her to Joseph and Max. Max shows Evelyn nanites that are in the rainwater and suggests that the nanites duplicate themselves whenever possible. He believes the nanites are in the land, water and air already, and within a year there will be no organic life left on Earth. Evelyn is told that the virus will destroy anything with the machine's code on it, and affect every computer on Earth that's connected to the internet. Banks, financial markets, power networks, all will stop working. Evelyn tells them that Will wants to upload her consciousness, and Max won't approve. Max believes that as soon as the nanites are in Evelyn's bloodstream, her cells will begin to change. And, when the virus is released, it will attack and kill Evelyn as well. Evelyn understands but feels that she is the only person that Will trust enough to allow to get close enough to be able to release the virus. Evelyn begins driving toward Will. Simultaneously, Joseph, Buchanan, Bree, the soldiers and remaining Rift members all load into vehicles en route to Brightwood. Once they arrive, they quickly begin to arrange their artillery and rooftop surveillance. Evelyn is spotted arriving at the ground-level door of the data center. Nobody else is visible. As Evelyn walks to the door, Will walks outside and tells her he found a way back. She hugs him briefly and tells Will that the soldiers are planning to attack them. Will suggests that he already knew it and tells Evelyn that she should leave, it's not safe. Evelyn begs Will to upload her so he can protect her. Will thinks Evelyn is scared of him and she tries to convince him that she doesn't want to lose her chance to be with him. Back in the center of Brightwood, Joseph, Max and Buchanan argue about whether or not to begin shelling the data center. The shelling begins and explosions are close to Will and Evelyn. Evelyn gets injured by the shelling and Will takes her into the data center. Max and Bree jump in a vehicle and speed toward the data center. The nanites in the ground attack the mortar equipment, and it falls apart. The townspeople assemble and begin blocking the attack. Will lays Evelyn on the bed. He thinks people are trying to destroy him because they don't understand him. But, Evelyn thinks Will is the one who is destroying everyone else. The vehicle that Max and Bree were in gets in an accident and is turned upside down. Bree gets out and points her handgun at Max. She yells at a townsperson standing nearby to upload the virus immediately, thinking that Will can hear her through the networked population. Will talks to Max through the townsperson, and lets Max know that he can either heal Evelyn or upload her and the virus, but there's not enough time or power to do both. Evelyn begs Will to save Max, that he shouldn't suffer for what she and Will have done. Will agrees and puts his hand over Evelyn's stomach wound, purposely uploading her and the virus. Once Evelyn is uploaded, she begins to see the bigger picture. The nanites are actually saving the Earth's ecosystems. Forests can have a new birth, water and air can be cleaned, and the planet can be healed. Will had done everything for her, mirroring the dreams she listed in her opening speech about saving the planet. Suddenly, the virus works and the networked people begin collapsing. Joseph and Buchanan realize that Will didn't kill anyone. Will and Evelyn embrace and she apologizes for not believing that it was always him in the AI. Will smiles and suggests Evelyn think of their garden sanctuary, as they both pass away holding each other. Max arrives in the room with Will and Evelyn, soon after they have passed away. Max visits Will and Evelyn's garden. He sees nanites in the rainwater that drips from healthy sunflowers. Max believes that they created their garden intentionally, so they would always be together. The end. Please subscribe and like the video if you'd like to see more. Thanks.